Yeah, no problem. But you can't. Phone lines them is unpredictable.
No, I know how that is there, for sure, for sure. And I appreciate you just being willing to do it. And first, Duckie, a huge aloha, mahalo, and welcome back, my brother. It's good to talk with you again.
Hello, from Jamaica.
Where are you in Jamaica, and is this where you've been since the start of the pandemic?
Yes. I came back from LA 2020 February,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in south of Jamaica, a place by the name of St. Elizabeth.
Right. I know that. You have a place in Kingston, and then you rent one out in St. Elizabeth as well, correct?
Yeah, I live in Golden Spring, in Kingston.
And
But I like to chill in the country, so I have this spot in the country that I chill.
Say that part again?
I like to chill in the country.
Right.
So I have this spot in the country where I chill.
And isn't that where you grow the ganja too, I understand?
Big time.
And you spend most of your time there in St. Elizabeth since the pandemic started?
I spend a lot of time in St. Elizabeth, about 4 years. I've been here about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, spend some time, go back to my house in Kingston, I'm from here to Golden Spring, back and forth.
How far of a drive is it from Golden Spring to?
It's like 3.5 hour drive.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a haul. And you're spending, since the crisis started in March of last year of 2020, have you spent most of your time in St. Elizabeth or going back and forth?
Yes, most of my time going back and forth, but I spend most of my time in St. Elizabeth.
Okay, that's a nice place to be, and
a lot of farming and stuff like that. They grow a lot of vegetables down here, and a lot of ganja, man.
Yeah, you've shown some of that in that video from the last record. I remember we were talking about that when you were here at the Blue Note. It showed you in the fields.
That was Chalice from the album As the World Turned.
Exactly, that was it. And so before we hear some of what you've been up to currently, take us back, Duckie, to when the pandemic started and tell us the story of where you were at when things got out of control and how it first affected your life.
Well, I was nominated in 2019 for the Grammy. So I came up to the Grammy in 2019 February, and I was in California. And I left on February 2020. There was just one case of the virus in California, and that case was in San Francisco. So I came up to chill out for about 2-3 months. Then I was going on one of my major tours. This tour would be maybe my biggest tour since my career in Europe. Right, and I was here chilling out, waiting until about May. And then in May, I would get back into California. Then I'll rehearse from California, and then we'd launch out to Europe. But the pandemic break big time, so that did not happen. And I've been here chilling since that time.
And so when it first hit, were you still on the mainland, or had you made it back to Jamaica?
When it first hit, I was in Frisco. There was just one case in Frisco, but that was not the reason why I came down. I came down to prepare myself for this 3-month European tour.
Gotcha.
And then get caught up in the whole dilemma,
So you had planned to do that, and then the pandemic blew that thing out. Now, are those the tour dates that appear to be held off until 2022? Is that the case? They're going to happen next year?
I think so. Yes, I think so, yeah.
Right, I was looking online, I saw European dates. So since the pandemic began, Duckie, have you played live at all?
Nah, I have not budged, man. I did. I'm doing some demo for my next album. When I came down in February 2020, I had just finished a next album that I did in California at the L-Town studio.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I am on my next album now. You know, so that's what we did. That's what I was doing during pandemic. I was just like making some songs and putting down some demo until I'm ready.
So that's what you've been doing there in Jamaica.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to. Yeah, putting down a lot of demos, you know.
And the last show that you played before it all started, was it in Vegas actually at the end in February?
Yes, that was my last concert. It was I did the One Love concert.
Right.
That 5-day festival in St. Mary in California. And then I did about 5 other shows, and that was my last show, Vegas. I flew from Vegas to Jamaica.
Okay. Wow. So no playing live, but working on demos, keeping and you know, a lot of people doing similar stuff, as you probably know. And was there ever any scary moments there relating to the virus at all, or any other interesting moments besides making the demos when you think about the last year and how you've been spending your time? What are some of the other highlights or things that people in Hawaii might be interested to hear about?
Well, what I do, I try to stay away from a lot of people, a lot of crowds, or any crowded parties. I've just been chilling at my flat, you know.
Trying to stay safe.
There's a lot of curfew. Like even now, there's curfew from 3 o'clock.
3 p.m.
You know. Yeah, everybody has to be off the road from 3 p.m. So we are totally locked down here.
Wow.
You know.
That's heavy duty, since that's an early one too, and then you can get back on the road at what, like 6 in the morning?
Yeah, tomorrow. Because of today's Independent Day, you know, in Jamaica, so-called Independence. So it's a big holiday.
I get you, but
everything is under lockdown.
But you're saying in general the lockdown's every day, though. It's not just because of the holiday.
The lockdown is not every day, but the curfew is every day.
Okay.
From 5 to 8. And on Sundays, like 5 to 3, and on holiday, 5 to 3, you know.
Okay.
So I just try to stay out of large gathering. I go to the studio in Kingston sometime, and a lot of people is getting the virus down here. It's really kicking high, you know. That's why a lot of people is getting the virus down here.
Right.
But the country is not like locked down for people flying in. People coming on vacation, they keeping like big parties in Negril and stuff like that. So, you know.
So there are still tourists coming to the tourist places, like
a lot of tourists.
So you got to stay away from there.
From the goddamn where.
Say that one more time.
You know, the country strive from tourism. That's their biggest earner.
Right.
According to them, so it's gonna be very hard for them. The government is not gonna lock tourists down.
Right. You're saying it's a critical industry, so they've got to keep the tourists coming because that's a top earner, as you say.
Big time. So whosoever goes out in this Armageddon goes out, you stay fit, you know. But I'm just holding it in there, you know.
And how far is St. Elizabeth's from like Negril, for example?
What about Negril?
How far is St. Elizabeth's from Negril?
Oh, that's my favorite chill spot. Negril is like 2.5 hours from where I am.
Okay, like northwest of where you are?
Exactly west. That's the last end of the island.
Yeah. I've been there before, 7 Mile Beach.
Ah, yeah.
Bloody Bay.
Well, that has become 7 Mile Hotel.
Right. I know what you're saying. It was crowded there. Actually, we stayed in Bloody Bay, which was, you know that, right north of there.
Yeah, Bloody Bay, that's coming from Montego Bay end.
Exactly, right, on the north side of Negril. And there was that famous place where local dudes would make food on the beach. It was like the Mother Nature's or something like that, they called it.
Mm-hmm.
You probably.
There's a lot of those places, you know.
Yeah.
I was in Negril like 3 weeks ago, chilling for like 7-8 days or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do you stay when you're in Negril?
Travelers or West End. I'm a Negril person, you know. I've been going to Negril from in the 70s, man.
Right. You know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah, that's my favorite spot in Jamaica.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, that's a gorgeous little place.
Maybe the reason why they were kind of not too hard on marijuana.
Not to what with marijuana?
Not too. In Negril is the freest place in Jamaica for marijuana.
I get it. They don't enforce.
No, they don't enforce. From ever since they did not enforce too much. So that was my favorite spot, Used to go there a lot.
Sure.
Now in Jamaica, they kind of eased the restriction,
Like it has so many other places too, huh?
Yeah.
Like America.
You allow like 2 ounces and 5 trees.
Wow. 5 trees and up to 2 ounces.
Yeah, it can grow 5 trees and 2 ounces. I got about 20 here right now at my house.
Yeah, that video from Chalice that you were talking about, that's very
that feel.
Yeah, it gives you the feel for sure, right?
Yeah.
When you look at that. You know what I was thinking about, and I was hoping you could share with people, and you're just such a good person to talk to this about. On a more serious note, we lost so many artists, both due to COVID-19 and also people who passed away of other causes. But 2 of them that I thought would have a connection to you that I know you'll be able to talk about for sure, and I thought it'd be great for people to hear because you probably have some good stories. One of them passed from COVID. One of them, his death not related to COVID. But I wanted to start with Toots Hibbert of Toots and the Maytals, and I was hoping you could share both your reaction to his passing and some stories of his importance and how he fits into your life.
Well, Toots, musically, Toots fit into my life great. And Toots was one of my top 5 famous reggae singers. Yeah, Toots was my artist. I liked Toots from I was very young. I even did a track, one of Toots' rhythm. I did some vocal on one of Toots' rhythms recently on the same As the World Turns album.
Yeah, you covered it on the As the World Turns album.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, but Toots was one of my favorite artists. But I was not close to Toots. I was close to him musically, but I don't know him like that.
I get you, not personally. Had you ever met him?
Rarely. Maybe one time, or I might have seen him in the studio.
I get it.
I've never met him. I know all the artists then, but I'm not really close to them,
Yeah, no, I understand how it can be, but it's great to hear that personal connection because you're a very important person, you and Black Uhuru, and so to think about the connection there, and you said you liked him a lot since you were just a little kid, a little boy.
Young, yeah. He's a few years older than me, I've been listening. I've been a fan of Toots in the 60s.
Starting in the 60s.
Yeah, know all of his songs, listen to all his songs. Yeah, Toots was a very famous artist in Jamaica.
That's cool. And you would look at him as an inspiration in some ways.
Big time.
Right on. That's any memorable time seeing him in concert, Duckie?
Well, I've seen him in a lot of concerts, man. But to tell you the truth, I might seen Toots in Jamaica. I've seen him in Jamaica a lot.
How many times do you think you've seen him?
Well, in Jamaica, I've seen him a lot. Like I've seen him like twice, maybe one time in LA, and maybe a next time I think I've seen him twice in LA.
Okay.
I don't remember touring with. I don't think I've ever toured with him. I can't remember if I've ever done. I don't think I've ever done a tour with Toots. So most of my time seeing Toots is like live shows in Jamaica, festival or concerts, or I've been following the guy for like 50 years now, man.
Right on, brother. Right on. And you saw him like early. You saw him live when
I saw him in the early 60s.
Wow.
I think the first time I saw Toots was like 62 or something like that. 62, 63, when he did that first festival song. I think it was, Bam Bam or whatever the name of it was. I'm not sure. I've been seeing him ever since.
It was like ska. It wasn't even, he hadn't even become reggae yet.
But yeah, I've seen him from ska, and I've seen him in rocksteady.
Yeah. The early stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, very early.
That's incredible.
So like in 62, like in 1962 when Jamaica got independent, I was like 12 years of age.
You were 12 years old when you first saw him, you think?
Yeah, but I was going to concert a lot. Like at 12 years old in those time, I was like a big man.
Right.
I was seeing like James Brown, you name them, Fats Domino, all of them guys from early age.
And they came and played there?
All the famous artists in America played in Jamaica, more than one.
Wow. So you were that young and seeing James Brown in concert?
Yeah. All the Manhattans, the Shy Lights, the Temptations, the Smokey, you name them.
Smokey
Diana
Robinson.
Ross, Aretha Franklin. Yeah, all the famous American artists play in Jamaica.
And what an important thing to have seen at that age too, huh? Because I know that you love that soul, that American soul from the '60s and the Motown, basically.
The most vivid memory I have about James Brown.
Yeah.
My friend took him for like 13 suits,
For 13 suits, like clothing you're talking about?
Yeah, took 13 of his suits. When he played at the Ambassador Theatre. No, he played at the Regal Theatre. And that night we stampeded the venue. We licked the back door off, and rushed into the change room and everything. And my friends took like a dozen suits. But this guy was traveling with like 50 goddamn suits.
He probably was not happy then.
He didn't mind it. The most funny thing about it is when we get back home, and the next day, you could see all my friends them hanging out in James Brown's suit. And this guy James Brown was a very short guy. And these guys in a suit was like 6'2", 6'1", 6 feet. And the cops were passing by and they stop and they're like, "Who the hell are you guys? What's going on here?" So he saw the guy them in clothes that did not fit.
Right. So they looked really funny. You paint a great picture. I can completely see it.
He said, like, "What is there? Is there a clown show going on here?" Because James Brown used to wear a lot of sequin and silk and.
Right. So they looked really funny and out of place, you're saying.
Very funny.
And you were young, huh? You were like 12, 13 when this happened.
No, I was a bit older than that.
Okay. Like a teenager still, though.
I told you, these guys come to Jamaica more than one time, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. They have been here a couple of times, all of them.
Wow.
So this instant I'm telling you about with James Brown, that was not the first time he has been here.
Right, I get it. It was late. It was one of several times that you got to see him too in Jamaica.
Yeah.
There's another cat. As I was saying, in addition to Toots, the other one that I know that you have a strong connection to, and his death not related to the virus, but still it's happened during the pandemic, and it's something that is pretty significant for reggae. I'm sure you know who I'm about to talk about, and that's Bunny Wailer. And I was hoping you could also and kind of just explain for folks.
I have a closer relationship with Bunny than Toots, but I and Bunny was not really close. Like in those days, like in the Wailers days when I used to be around them, these guys were very militant and shit, and so you'd have to keep your pace, keep your distance, So I was with the guy. I was there sometime, but I was not there. If you know what I mean, because when I go to Trenchtown, and I'm kicking it with Wailing Soul.
Right.
Bunny in Wailers rehearse at Wailing Soul. So that's how I get to know them,
Got it.
I was not part of the Wailing Soul. I just did 2 songs with them.
And it was the early 70s, though, when you got to do that.
Yes, but I learned a lot of magic around them musically, right? That's where I kicked off my my music training when I met Wailing Soul. But Bob and Wailing Soul was very close. You know, so Bob would be there every day rehearsing, and then I would be there also checking out the scene and learning what I can learn and stuff. So I wasn't really close with Bunny, but I know who he was. In the later days now, that like I had a couple of run-in with him. You know, he would come to Waterhouse and we would chat, or I would see him on the road and we would chat, you know.
Right.
But was not too close, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it. No, you explain it well. And in the early days, though, even cooler, you're saying that a lot of what you learned, a lot of your influence in developing your style and your personality and your presence, which would end up being part of Black Uhuru, you picked it up when you were hanging out with Wailing Souls because they had Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer and people like that coming and hanging out.
That's where I picked up all my teaching, man, from Wailing Soul and the Wailers, you know. But I was friend of Wailing Soul, you know.
Right.
Wailing Soul. I was close to Wailing Soul, you know.
Yeah. And
I would be watching Bob and Bunny. You know, that's where I get to develop love singing harmony, because Bob and Peter and Bunny was like, you know, those guys were like, you know, my hero, you know, and that's why I get to choose harmony. Because in those days, I was very interested to sing harmony, you know?
Right, especially because of the Motown that you had liked.
We were patterning the American singers. Everybody wanted to be like the Temptation or the OJs or the Four Tops. So harmony singing was very famous in Jamaica. And I chose harmony over lead.
And those were the masters, as you were saying, Bob, Peter, and Bunny.
Yeah, because Peter was a master in harmony, and Bunny was a master in harmony. So I think I was like them, you know, master in harmony and songwriting, you know. Bob never used to like singing harmony, you know.
Bob didn't, you're saying?
No, Bob didn't like to sing harmony, you know, either for two reasons. A lot of lead singers, some of them can't sing harmony, and some of them don't want to sing harmony because they want to be the upfront man, you know?
And be in the spotlight more.
That is one of the things I see with lead singer. Most lead singer want to be in the spotlight more than the harmony singer. So that's why you see all these groups of fallout. It's like, you know, a ego thing.
Right.
That is why Peter had made the statement, well, I'm not here to sing harmony.
And that's why he wanted to go do his own thing?
Yeah, but he was like, I'm not here to sing harmony behind Bob Marley all my life.
Right.
And once you start singing harmony, they label you as a harmony singer, and then it's there. Yeah?
Well, that's a great explanation and so much insight both into your own development as a musician, but also these great memories and a great way to pay tribute. And when you think of Bunny, like as a final note of thinking of those days when you learned so much watching him, is there any funny story that you remember, like when you think of his name in those times?
I got the funniest story for you, man.
Okay.
The first guitar I bought, Bunny took it away.
Explain.
Well, I'm chilling in Wailing Souls now, so I'm going to Wailing Soul like 5-6 days a week every morning. Get on the bus. Go to Trenchtown in the evening, come back. So I bought this guitar. It was a custom-built acoustic guitar. Took it to Trenchtown. You know, like the first day I bought it, I took it to Trenchtown and I show Pipe it. Show Wailing Soul it, and they were like, yeah. And I left the guitar at Pipe house. Because I didn't want to be traveling with it.
Right.
And one day when I get back there, the guitar was nowhere to be found. And I was like, where's my guitar? And they're like, Bunny took it and say it was his. Okay. Yeah. And he had my guitar. Bunny took my guitar for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. And one day just returned it to the house. I went to Trenchtown, and when I look, I saw my guitar, and they were like, Bunny left it here, and I just control it back. You know? But but I didn't want to make no fuss about it because I still wanted to go to Trenchtown. So Bonnie was telling me that the guitar was his, and everybody believed Bonnie. So I just chill, because I didn't want to break up the relationship going to Trenchtown.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
Yeah,
makes total sense. And then eventually, your attitude paid off because you got it back, and you
big time. Yeah, big time. Got it back and learn a lot of chemistry.
That's right. You learn the chemistry.
Yeah.
You got
because I really learned the harmony chemistry around from. Well, Wailing Souls, they were great harmony singers too. Very, and Bob Peter and Bonnie was great harmony singers. So I was in like the right mix.
Right. And you were smart not to blow it over the guitar, which was cool.
No. But by that time I was already writing songs,
Yeah. You were already making your own tunes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was already writing songs, but not recording.
What a way to learn, huh? You learned from
I was like writing poems, and I just turned a lot of my poems into songs.
That's super cool. That's a great and a great way to have, like, they're mentors, is what you're saying. They were great mentors to have in a way.
Big time. That's I learned all the chemistry with them, man.
It's amazing.
All the vocal techniques and singing in keys and everything.
There was this other cat that we lost during the virus, not reggae at all, but I was just curious if because of all your experiences in the 70s, maybe he even played in Jamaica, but he was this legendary African artist, the guy who did Soul Makossa, Manu Dibango. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember if I ever met that guy yet.
Okay. But you remember him. Mm-hmm. You remember that song?
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great artist, and did you ever remember him playing there?
No.
Okay.
But a couple of years after, I met James Brown officially.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
in Compass Point in Nassau, Bahamas.
Tell us the story.
Because by that time, I was signed to Island Records. Every year we spend 6 or 8 weeks in the Bahamas at Island Studio recording. So all type of artists will be passing through. Grace Jones, James Brown, Tom Tom Club, Talking Heads, Steve Winward. All of Island singer would come there every year to record, and we'd all meet up. And James Brown was doing a project also for Island. So I was with James Brown a couple of weeks also.
Wow, for a
Mick
couple.
Jagger, Rolling Stone,
And stay on James for just a second, because we're going to talk about the Stones next. That's funny that you mentioned them. But staying with James Brown, you still remember when you first met him, and tell us a little bit about hanging with him for those weeks.
Yeah, we were doing our project in Nassau. Every year we spend 6 weeks or 8 weeks in the island, Nassau, Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the artists who are working, recording for Chris,
right,
albums, they would all come to Nassau. That's why I know all those artists. We'll be chilling there for like 2 months, 6 weeks, recording, swimming, and that's how we met James Brown,
And did you do anything fun?
Sly and Rabbit doing James Brown project, and we'll be hanging out every night, every day.
Wow. You got to spend a lot of time with James.
Well, around him, not with him, because in those times, I didn't even talk to people, man. But I'm just there. I'll be there chilling. No one's going to talk to me because they're like, that guy doesn't even smile. But I would be there still, smoking, cooking, or doing studio work, but he was more closer to Sly and Robbie.
They were producing him.
Yes, but I would be there with them every day also. Like Sly and Robbie was his friend,
Right, that's who he was closest to.
Me and Michael was not people friendly.
Michael Rose, you talking?
Eh?
Michael Rose is who you're talking about?
Yeah, Michael Rose would be there too.
Okay. Okay, so he'd be there. And any funny stories with James that you can remember?
Just the one. We and him got into I think they got hit to a little brawl with him one night, and we had to shake him up, you know.
What happened exactly?
And it was over some recording he was doing with Sly and Robbie, and he tried to pass his place, and we let him know that that's not gonna happen. So even his bodyguard, he run like his bodyguard had heart attack, man. They had to rush him, I think, to the hospital or something like that.
Oh, because it got into somebody. They were fighting. What did James want to do that started the fight?
It was something with him, and Sly and Robbie doing a session, recording, and something went wrong, and he tried to diss the program. So we had to tell him that this is not the U.S., you know, and he better be careful what he says. And we had to get tough, you know. And his bodyguard, this big 400.
Oh, his bodyguard. What happened with the bodyguard?
His bodyguard tried to get involved, and we had to shake him up. You have to remember, in the 80s, man, we guys were like boys, man.
You guys were like,
right?
Say again.
Like in the 80s, we don't take talk, you know, from no guy. It's not like now when we have grown up and we're, but in the 80s, man, we don't take talk from no James Brown, man. Crazy.
You guys were tough then, you're saying?
Yeah, we were young, yeah.
Young and doing things that young people do.
And Robbie and them guys are tough, man. You have to, you can't disrespect ourselves. You know, you have to defend it.
One other guy from Jamaica before we turn to, because you had mentioned the Stones, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But one of the other guys from Jamaica who's been on our show, we've been talking to guests all over the world since the pandemic started. Sometimes people in Europe, all over the mainland, just people like yourself, and hearing what they've been up to, and not just reggae, all different kinds of bands. But one of the only other guest we had from Jamaica was Cat Coore, Stephen Cat Coore from Third World. He joined us from Kingston. How far back do you go with Cat?
Yeah, that's my boy, man.
You're close with him?
Cat, that's my boy, yeah. Me and Cat are close. Yeah, me and Cat are close. We know each other very good.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
Me and Cat used to live close. I used to live maybe 10 minutes from Cat, you know, or 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I know Cat from in the 70s. When I signed with Island Recording Company.
Right.
That's when I start knowing Cat. You know?
Wow, you've been friends a long time.
Oh yeah, we've been friends ever since.
He's a really nice man. I like him a lot.
And we tour together. We do shows together. We go places together. So the relationship with Cat is kind of different. We see Cat as my friend, you know?
I get you. Very different than these other guys.
But I just know the guy more.
You know him better just through your...
Yeah, because the connection, if you can remember in the 70s, Cat Coore was connected to Island Record also.
Yes.
And I was connected to Island Record. You know, so we developed a friendship from there. Like we would be hanging out together, going places together and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be the link, is from Island, basically, is that how you hooked up with him, or just because you live near each other?
No, that's how I hooked up with him. Plus, we live near to each other also.
Right, so that helped.
Cat was living in the hills in Stony Hill, and I was living just maybe a short distance from Cat in Golden Spring.
Where you still have a house?
Yeah, where I still have that house today, 30-something years.
Amazing. And another name that's associated with you from way back, before we wrap it up, I know this is a great story too. You mentioned seeing Mick Jagger down there when the artists would come down and record in the Bahamas and hang out down there. You have this connection to Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, who is on Shine Eye Gal. Explain how that happened.
That was Sly and Robbie. Sly and Robbie let that happen. Because I've never met the guy Keith Richards one-on-one yet.
Wow. So they did it.
And I was in Nassau with Rolling Stones. He was there, I was there. And I'll go into the studio and I'll see him. And, but I and him never really talk or anything like that, And, we did when we opened for Rolling Stone in Wembley, in England.
At the stadium or the arena?
At the stadium.
Big outdoor plays.
Yeah, the stadium. Big stadium, 60,000 people, yeah.
Amazing. You opening for the Rolling Stones in London.
For Rolling Stone, yeah. Even people from the Royal family were there.
That has to bring a smile to your face, remembering that.
When I remember about the days of Island Record, it doesn't really bring no smile to my face.
It doesn't, because you had a tough time with that.
Boom. Oh, that is the next story, man. I think I have one of the toughest time a reggae artist has ever had in the world. It's like a Guinness Book of Record, man.
In terms of what? How would you sum it up in terms of what made it?
In terms of how we were treated. We did not earn no money from that 6 year with that 5-6 year with Ireland and all those. My album Red sold 18 million copies, and my album Anthem sold 10 million copies, and I never earned a cent. No royalty, no statement, and we're talking about Sensimania and Showcase, and man, I really got a raw deal,
Wow. So it's like it's an era of your life that actually has a lot of that negativity attached.
It's an era of my life I'm not too excited about.
I get you.
Financially.
I get it.
I only talk about it because it is the history.
Right.
That's the history, but,
No, I get it.
I'll go some places and they're playing those songs, all my hit songs. And as I reach, I tell them, stop playing those songs. Play something different. Man. I don't want to hear those songs. And they're like, why? And I'm like, play something different.
Right. You don't even want to explain it to them.
Sometimes I'll explain it, but sometimes I just need to play something different.
I get you.
Every time I hear those songs, it brings me back, just really think about it. How is it possible for someone to do such great works that was established worldwide, that make so much money and have not received? You understand?
Totally. And who would you blame it on? Would you blame it on the record label, management? Who do you think?
Well, I blame it on, you see, we didn't know about business, and I have to blame myself, because if I had known how great I was, then that would not reach me. But I didn't know how great I was until after the whole thing went down, And when we were about to make some money now, well, I think Sly and Michael, they did very well, because I've never heard them complain. I've never heard them make a statement or say nothing. So it looked like I was just the only one who got burned. And you have to understand, when you're dealing with a lot of people, more than one people, and music is one of the biggest politics you can ever find in. So it's a lot of here and there.
It's interesting because that happened to so many of the American artists that you grew up in and enjoyed too, as you probably know, who struggled to get the proper royalties and the proper credit.
But when Michael left, we were at our peak. The whole thing had just changed. And we were at our peak of the game, and tried to get him to stay. But at that time, he was like, can make the comb but cannot make the honey. So he had it in the bag, and he walked.
Say that expression one more time.
Oh, it's like a wasp. He can make the cone, but he cannot make the honey. Michael thought he could make the honey, so he walked.
I get it. You're saying it was like a wasp. You can make the cone, but you can't make the honey. That's what you're saying, correct?
Yes, it's funny. Singing is funny, Everybody see the front man, right? But music or entertainment is not necessarily the front man. It's always the man behind the scene.
Right.
That's how show business going. But you present a show, and everybody think it's the lead singer or the lead guy is the star. It don't necessarily go that way. You know, with Black Coore, it did not go that way. You know, with other groups like Jamaican groups and things, it went that way. Like with even Wailers walk, and he was successful. Bonnie was successful, Peter was successful. See? Black Coore, Michael walk, Duckie was successful, Puma died, you know?
Right, it works different ways for different bands.
Yeah, but to tell you something, Michael, I've been nominated the 8th time for Grammy. Since Michael walk, I have, you know,
so
I've done Broadway musical, you know, I received the Diamond Awards of Excellence. I've covered so much ground, you know.
Since he left the band, which has been good for you.
Well, you can say that. It was a blessing in disguise because this guy has not have a hit song, maybe one hit song in 34 years since he has left the band, you know.
Right.
And I have been all over and done all kind of things.
Yes, you have. You've had an incredible career, and it's great getting to catch up with you and hear all about it at this point in our lives. And before we wrap it up, final kind of question: what's going to be next for you, my brother? In terms of obviously the shows that I know about are not till next summer in Europe.
You know, I might fly out of the country in November. I might do one show in November in Puerto Rico. Because this show has been booked. This show has been booked from 2019. I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico in March 2020. And it had to be canceled because of the pandemic. So that might be my only show for this year, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
You know, but I think I'll start out 2022.
And are you still in touch, or during this time? I know that Andrew Bees, lead singer of the band, he's like in California, Bay Area. Have you been in touch with him?
Andrew Bees live in California. Yeah, he called me like 2 weeks ago. I'm still in touch with Robbie, you know, and me and Robbie's school and everything. But we're just waiting for like 2022, you know.
And Andrew's been safe in America? No health troubles or anything?
Andrew live in America. Yeah, man. Andrew live in somewhere in Oakland, California or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
family.
No, I know he's in that area, but I'm saying his health has been good. Everything's okay with him?
Yeah, man. I talked to him 2 weeks ago. I'm all right.
And your health, you're feeling good?
Yeah, you know. Well, I don't have COVID.
Say it again?
I don't have the virus. So far, everything is good, yeah. I don't have it, so I'm good.
There you go.
And that's
the name of the game. You're staying safe.
Yeah.
Well, we want you to keep staying safe, my brother.
Yeah, I'm taking a lot of herb stuff, man. Turmeric and ginger and cinnamon leaf, and I'm drinking all kind of herbs down here, you know?
And staying away from crowds.
Big time. I'm sitting on my veranda talking to you now, you know?
Say again?
And going to bed early and stuff like that.
Right on. Well, I hope you, and tell people, Duckie, before we wrap it up with you, because it's just such an honor that you told me this one time. And you've been doing interviews with people for close to 50 years now, probably at least, closing in on 50 years. You've been talking to people about your career. What is your favorite interview of your whole career that you've ever done?
It's yours. You know, I can't call the name of I don't even remember your name, but I remember you specific. Because I remember Blue Note and I remember Hawaii. So that kind of stick in my head. But if I tell the truth, my other interviews, it's just when I met them, I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? This is the only, because this is the only interview I have on my phone. I don't know where I got it from, the only video. Maybe because you gave it to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to say your interview.
I appreciate it very much. And
sometimes interviews goes the mood. Sometimes the mood you're in and where you are. And that night, that night in Hawaii, the mood was like, irate. The mood was very irate.
It was very irate.
I think I did a good interview that night.
You did a great interview. We had a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the times that we've gotten to spend. We did another one since then, of course, as you know, and now we've talked today. And I hope you had fun today, Duckie. I really enjoyed going over these stories with you, my brother.
Yeah, man, I think you'll see me next year,
Say it one more time?
I think you'll see us next year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see you back in Hawaii.
Yeah, man. And my friend is by, no fingers crossed, either by, if I'm not even performing, you'll see me. We were coming to Hawaii. My friend was buying a house in Hawaii 2020,
Wow.
And we had plans to come there. He lives in California. Mm-hmm. And we had plans to come there and spend 6 months in Hawaii.
Wow.
And the pandemic hit. So everything was like, So I'll be in Hawaii 26. He just called me like maybe 2 days ago. I'll be in Hawaii like 2022. Planning to come there, get a house, and kill some time there, do some music there,
I'm looking forward to it, my brother. We'll get in touch for sure, and we'll see each other when you get here.
You're talking to me from Honolulu?
Yes, I am.
All right, sir.
Yeah, I'm giving you maximum respect and big high five and a hug, and it's great reconnecting with you, Duckie.
Big time.
Feel it, brother.
All right, big up Black Uhuru Duckie Simpson, a.k.a. 9-star General. Bless.